everybody. Welcome to Blue Marble Science. The Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, otherwise normally known as LIGO. You know, flat earthers like Bev Thinking just hate this thing. They absolutely despise it when we bring it up because they know that it shows the curvature of the earth, and they also know it was their idea to use it. Uh-oh. We have 2 LIGO installations in the United States. One is in Hanford, Washington. That's the one you see the picture of here. And there's a second installation in Livingston, Louisiana. Here's the one in Washington from Google Earth. The 2 arms of the interferometer are shown there where the arrows are pointing. I'll put some red lines on there to make it a little more obvious. Each one of those arms is 2.5 miles in length. When we get down close, the arm looks like that. It's a concrete enclosure, but that's not the important part. The important part is what's inside the enclosure. Inside, there is a 4-foot diameter steel tube that is dead straight. It's one of the straightest things we can construct. Why is that important? Well, the curvature of the earth is very subtle because the earth is so huge. You need some sort of straight standard to compare to, and that's what LIGO has. There are 4 of these arms, each 2.5 miles in length, and each one is dead straight. Now, if we measure the elevation of that arm from, say, mean sea level, then we should be able to see the curvature of the earth at 8 inches per mile squared. The folks at Jacobs Engineering and Chicago Bridge and Iron who built this thing surveyed the concrete pads that the arms are sitting on. And we have that elevation data in the form of what we call as-built drawings. In other words, surveys of what is actually there on the ground. So let me switch to the Livingston site. This is from Google Earth, and this is the Livingston Interferometer. We're only going to focus on this arm up here at the top, that one. That 2.5 mile arm, the one they call the southwest arm, is almost dead level. It makes it very easy and very quick to analyze. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If we look at the elevation of the arm at the vertex, and I realize that's on the left-hand side of the profile drawing here, the elevation drawing. It's actually at the right-hand end of the photograph. It's up there where it says Untitled Placemark. That elevation is 64.05 feet. We'll put that in there. The other end, down here on the left-hand side, has an elevation of 64.06 feet. We'll put that in. And the elevation in the center is 63 feet. Notice anything? The elevation of that tube is 1 foot higher at each end than it is at the center. This is what we expect on the Earth. We know the Earth is going to fall away from a tangent line at the rate of 8 inches per mile squared. Remember that that would be from the center of this essentially tangent line formed by the tube. So the distance is 1.25 miles. And over that distance, we would expect a gap to form between the tube and the surface of the Earth, or a known elevation of about 1.04 feet. We're within 3/16 of that. And this is based on measurements to poured concrete. That's phenomenally accurate. But let me show you another picture that'll show it even a little better. The blue tube is the Ligo Tube. Now I've put those elevations in. 64.06 feet on the left, 63 feet in the center, and 64.05 feet at the other end. That curved line is the level line, or a line of equal elevation. That means that that point is 63 feet, just like the center is, and that point is 63 feet, just like the center is. The difference between the end of the tube and the elevation of the level line is 1.06 feet on the left and 1.05 feet on the right. This is sometimes what people call drop, and it does this on every one of the Ligo tubes. Now let's listen to the feckless cretins of the try-thinking crowd as they desperately try to find something wrong with Ligo.
It's been good.
If you want to call the elevation data into question, Bev, that's up to you. Well, I've got to go by her the as-built drawings.
Yeah, I'm just going off logic, Blue. It's on the XY axis, so you'd presume that that's the horizontal plane. At me, anyway. Talking about Ligo, a good old favourite. I thought I'd chuck this one in for Mobius. Hopefully, Blue might want to inject the conversation. As we're talking, it always comes up. If you're talking about water level and horizontal, then you have to bring in straight. And how can you not bring in the straightest thing in the universe?
This is from a recording made on my Discord channel some time ago. I have no idea where Bev gets his information from. I don't really think Ligo is the straightest thing in the universe. But it's his story. We'll let him tell it his way, I guess.
Nice. Well, I mean, this should give you a few little hinters. And I think there's a bit about his balls in here at the end.
The childish ball reference was to Cavendish. Can you imagine a grown, middle-aged man like Bev talking like that? What's wrong with you, buddy? Why don't you grow up?
There's plenty of pauses. I think this was from when we went over there too. See who's in the chat.
I presume they can set the plane anywhere they want to set it. As the report says, to minimize site costs.
He's just said that they can set the plane to wherever they want to minimize site costs. That's an important skill to have, isn't it?
Less construction costs.
Less construction costs. Do you want to? I'll go over that again, because
site costs. Is that because he needs to site both ends of the water level at the same time? Or
this is Ligo. He thinks they can reset the horizontal plane to wherever they want to minimize site costs. I mean, that's fantastic.
I presume they can set the plane anywhere they want to set it. As the report says, to minimize site costs.
He presumes that they can set the plane as to wherever they want it to minimize site costs.
Listen to the incredulity as these asshats show how truly ignorant they are when it comes to anything to do with construction or engineering.
Ligo, that is. Concrete guys.
That's kind of like the Earth saving,
construction cost.
Earth moving.
Yeah.
Remember the Earthworks project?
Yeah. The 4-foot earthworks. So I can just, it's perfect for Rakir, like, well, we've got Ligo and it's the most straightest thing in the universe. Do you want it anyway? Well, I mean, just save on site costs and put the plane however you want. They're like, well, we are in Louisiana. It's like, yeah, I know, but, 4 foot's 4 foot.
If we pile up some dirt over there, that should do it. No?
Yeah. He does. I mean, he claims to be an engineer. He speaks on behalf of engineers.
He claims to be an engineer. If that was your attempt at an insult, Bev, it didn't work. When I was talking about LIGO, I was not just talking off the top of my head. I read this report, and you'll notice that it's been written by people like Caltech, Chicago Bridge and Iron, Jacobs Engineering, MIT. That's a pretty impressive list. Let's skip down to page 8. I'm going to read this paragraph. A global coordinate system denoted by subscript G, specific to each LIGO site, was defined in which the X hat sub G and Y hat sub G are aligned along the interferometer arms, and Z hat sub G is normal to these axes. Now, I'm sure I probably could have been speaking Klingon and it would have made the same amount of sense to you, Bev. But when we say X hat, we're talking about a unit vector in the X direction. That's not all that important. Let's move on to the next sentence. The interferometer plane was chosen to minimize construction costs determined by the local topography, such that the global coordinate system lies in a plane that is located tangent to the WGS-84 model at some point within the triangle defined by the 4-kilometer arms. Did you catch all that? Let me call your attention to part of that sentence. To minimize construction costs determined by local topography. What do you think that means? I'll tell you what it means in a very few words. Let's don't move any more dirt around than we have to. Let's take a look at the local topography and see how we can situate a tangent plane that doesn't require us to make any more site modifications than we absolutely have to. It's a matter of economics. This is what engineers do for a living, Bev. And when they talk about situating LIGO, they're talking about this. This is Livingston in Louisiana. There's one arm of LIGO, there's the other arm. I'll highlight those things in red lines and connect the dots. That is the triangle they were referring to. Those two arms of LIGO form a plane, and that plane is tangent to the WGS-84 at some point within that triangle. I'm not just making this up. This is actually what they did. This is what engineers do for a living.
Nice. I just have that X and Y as the horizontal plane, and the Z-axis is the vertical change in height, elevation change. It's pretty simple. Makes sense, right? X and Y, horizontal plane, Z, vertical. Any vertical change is the elevation change established against the horizontal. Call it a slope. Call it whatever you want. Simple.
There's definite elevation change.
Not on the arms.
Yeah. On the arms.
Blue says there's an elevation change on the arms.
On the arms.
On the arms, yeah.
The straightest thing in the world.
On the horizontal plane. Yeah. Yeah, the arms of LIGO. Elevation change.
Yeah, an elevation change. You can look this up, you know. All you have to do is Google LIGO as-built drawings, and you can get every one of those things. Here's a section for the southeast arm at Livingston. There is the end elevation of it, 60.03 feet. Let's put it down there. Now pay attention. The vertex we already know is 64.05 feet. Subtract 60.03 feet from it, there's an elevation change of 4.02 feet. Look it up for yourself. If you don't believe me, pull up the drawings and have a look.
I'm sorry.
those two arms find a plane. That plane could be tangent the Earth, any place. So specifically, it's somewhere within the triangle formed by the vertex and the two ends. Ever identify exactly where that is?
They never identified exactly where it is.
A movable horizontal plane.
That's the way I have it.
That was SC Montreal trying to beat Bev in a foot race to the top of Mount Stupid. No, it's not movable, SC. They just don't identify where it is on the drawings. It's not important information. I didn't really look for it. It may be in there someplace. I just didn't notice it.
Perfect example of Euclidean 3 space. Yeah, so I'll put the picture up and then there's a massive pause again. Zip. So you guys don't have that. Like I'm just reading your chat. They even, Rakia was saying, they even call them the X and Y arms. I mean, surely that's what they mean, right?
I don't know where that came from, Bev.
X and Y. What, the X and Y arms? Rakia came and said
Put
to us.
Put that on there. Does that come from
Just
Ligo?
been talking to him. No, I put it on there. Because that's what it is. The X and the Y and the Z. I may have got the X and the Y the wrong way around. I don't know. Like Rakia said, I don't know which arm it is.
Well, you're the one that put them on there. Why'd you put them on there the wrong way around?
Just because it's X and Y. And Z, just because it shows the Euclidean 3 space.
Well, I've not seen a drawing from Ligo calling either arm an X or a Y. Calling the west arm and the east arm on all of the S-bills.
What, west and east?
Yeah.
You want to try that again? Doesn't call them X and Y. Everybody listening. I'll go over it again. Listen to what Blue calls the arms.
Put that on there. Does that come from Ligo?
No, I put it on there. X. Because that's what it is. The X and the Y and the Z. I may have got the X and the Y the wrong way around. I don't know. Like Rakia said, I don't know which arm it is.
Well, you're the one that put them on there. Why'd you put them on there the wrong way around?
Just because it's X and Y. And Z, just because it shows the Euclidean 3 space.
Well, I've not seen a drawing from Ligo calling either arm an X or a Y. Calling the west arm and the east arm on all of the S-bills.
What, west and east?
Yeah.
Yep. Right, so I say X, Y, and Z because all of those three are perpendicular to each other. It makes sense in a frame of reference, and that's why I call them X and Y. And I'd called them X and Y, but I can remember Rakia having a conversation with one of the guards or somebody in the office and him saying that they referred to them as the X and Y arms.
So Rakia, the guy that tried to crash the Cavendish party, is now getting his technical advice from Barney the Rent-A-Cop at the gate at Ligo. Is that what you just said?
It just makes sense because they're perpendicular. That's X and Y are perpendicular. Blue calls them. Try it again.
Calling either arm an X or a Y. Calling the west arm and the east arm.
The west arm and the east arm. Because everybody knows that perpendicular is often referred to by the people at Ligo as west and east. Because, I mean, it just makes sense that west and east are, I don't know. Blue will explain it to you. Definitely makes sense though, right? somehow. I say X and Y.
Calling either arm an X or a Y. Calling the west arm and the east arm.
Calling the west arm and the east
All
arm.
of the as-builts.
What, west and east?
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. It's big pause. They're perpendicular, right? That's me pointing out that they're perpendicular. Still a bit of a pause.
One's called the west, one's called the east.
Double down, if I blew.
You sure about that? West and east? Wouldn't it be like west and north or south?
Even Rob Keane knows that west and east aren't perpendicular to each other. Doesn't sound quite right.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
Like, why couldn't Blue notice that? That's the strange thing, right? I was stunned.
Well, okay. Are you guys ready for this? This drawing is also in the as-built drawings. All you got to do is look it up. It's Parsons drawing LA-C-003. This is the Livingston site, and that's what I was specifically talking about. Let's see if we can figure out which way this map is oriented. Ah, there it is, down there in the lower left corner. There's a north arrow, just like my red arrow. Let's put it up here at the vertex. Aha. So we know that's north. And we know that both of those arms are south of a latitude line running through that vertex, right? So if that's north, here's a question for you, Bev. What direction is that? I'll give you a minute. That's right. That's south. Okay, now we know north and south. What direction is that, Bev? I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and give you the answer. It's west. Let's blow that little section up there around the vertex up a little bit, like that. What's that say right there? Southwest arm. Okay. How about that arrow? Which direction would that be? There's only one left. That would be east, wouldn't it? What does that say, Bev? The southeast arm. Those arms are identified as the west arm and the east arm, or southwest and southeast if you want to be painfully accurate about it. Now don't you boys feel silly? I'll tell you what, let's try it at Hanford. Let's see what they did. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Look. Look where north is. North is that direction. Oh my God. Now what do we do? Well, if that's north, then both of those arms have to be west of that line of longitude, don't they? That direction would be south. That direction would be east. And that direction would be west. What do they call those arms? The northwest arm and the southwest arm. Oh dear, oh fiddlesticks. Looks like Blue's done it again. Hey, thanks for playing, Bev. Better luck next time. And thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget the like and subscribe buttons. If you want to support the channel, patreon.com/BlueMarbleScience or paypal.me, BlueMarbleScience. And I'll see you guys on the next one.